Hey guys, Sean here on the Cutlass Board Games YouTube channel. Today I'll be going over my team from the 2023 EBL draft. We'll be going through it in the order in which I drafted them, as well as going over some of the decisions I made while I was drafting. Let's get into it. So, the first Pokemon I selected was Kumo. My initial logic behind it was that Kumo had been seeing a lot of play in Regulation E VGC, both in the Throat Spray Clangorous Soul build and the Iron Defense Body Press sort of sweeper build. So he's got a bit of flexibility in terms of how you build him. His coverage moves are a lot of them. He's a really, really deep move pool, which is really, really nice. Just a good, strong, flexible first pick. Is My decision behind picking him initially was that based on my assessment, he was probably the best remaining Pokemon when I picked. I was sixth overall, so I was second last in the pick phase, which is actually quite good. I think. Personally, I felt quite good being in sixth. It was made it quite easy to pick really strong pairs, as I'm sure you'll see. Yeah, just good solid Pokemon. So second pick, I picked up King Gambit. So the format in which we're playing is uh, Kitakami Prologue. Bring six Pokemon to the battle, which means that King Gambit especially will thrive with his ability Supreme Overlord, which gives him a 10% boost for each Pokemon that has fallen before him when he comes into play. Um, Plus 40% on probably average. Pretty good, I think, personally. I think he's a very scary Pokemon at the best of times, but in a format like this, where the average Pokemon has middling stats, like we're not playing with all the premium sweeper Pokemon. There's no legendaries, there's no Ogapon, no Fluttermane, none of that sort of stuff. So a lot of things that sort of keep King Gambit a little bit oppressed in the regular VGC doesn't really exist. So I'm expecting King Gambit to put in a lot of work. Um, Between that, he's also got access to Defiant, which a lot of people very highly prioritized picking Intimidate Pokemon during the draft. Heath notably has a pair. Elise also has a pair of Intimidators. Um, so the flexibility to be able to run this as just a counter to Intimidate cycling um, in itself is quite threatening. So, he's good. He has a decent move pool, a little bit narrower than Komodo, but he's also a little bit bulkier than Komodo, which, that's the trade-off. Um, yeah. So third pick overall, I'd taken two quite strong cores, and Grimmsnarl quite luckily was still in the pool. And this is a Pokemon I have a reasonable amount of experience with in VGC, both from Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. Um, Very, very strong Pokemon. He's got, you got your Fake Out, he's got Taunt, he's got Screens, and he can be just a big offensive threat with Spirit Break. Um, really scary Pokemon and a really, really good pair. I was really happy to pick up Grimmsnarl. He's also a Prankster, which, makes him very, very problematic. There was only two Prankster Pokemon in the whole draft, and I managed to get both of them, which I was pretty chuffed about. Um, Fourth overall, we picked up Poliwrath. Now, Poliwrath, I felt not 100% certain when I picked him because I wasn't too familiar with the Pokemon. But the more I checked his moves and his stats, I sort of figured out you can kind of play him like an Iron Hands or kind of like Hariyama of old, where he's kind of just like a big, bulky, physical frontline Pokemon. You slap Drain Punch on him and, let him tank some hits and gain health back and just be an annoying brawler. He has pretty good coverage. I think he's a very strong Pokemon, and I'm very excited to see how he shows up in all the various battles. Um, Dusclops. So this is an old staple. Eviolite, Dusclops, got Trick Room, Will-O-Wisp, Icy Wind, Taunt, that sort of stuff. Also gets access to Pain Split, which is very, very good. It's good against stall teams. Like I know Keith has a lot of stall Pokemon, so having access to this is quite good. It's also being able to have access to Trick Room in my team, which isn't really a Trick Room team. Having this to be able to turn Trick Room off is quite nice. Um, and Haze for anybody else who wants to run like setup or Dragon Dance or any of that sort of stuff. I just can have Haze to deal with that. So Dusclope's good Pokemon. Just another support that I sort of needed. I tried to balance my picks as I went through the draft so that I was picking up an equal number of supports and like sweepers so that I had the biggest possible coverage for team building, most flexibility. Well, this one's a fan favorite. This is also a personal favorite. Pachirisu. So this was my sixth overall pick. Um, he's a world champion. What can I say? Um, Interestingly enough, Pachirisu was on the team of Sejun Park, who was the year I started playing VGC or taking it Pokemon kind of seriously as a competitive outlet. Um, this was on the World Champions team, and it was really, really cool. And it was the first VGC team that I built myself. And I remember grinding hours and hours and hours trying to get a Pachirisu with the right nature and everything, and it was a nightmare. But I still have that whole team, and it's good. So this is a Pokemon I have a lot of experience with this, so I'm really excited just to get him back out there and just super fang some people into oblivion, to be honest. Yeah. Um uh Here's another one, Wheezing. This is quite a really, really cool. Um I've had a little bit of experience with Galarian Wheezing, like your top hat funnel boy. But luckily enough, original Cantonian Wheezing has neutralizing gas as well. Really, really great ability. Um, Slightly less relevant in this because we're not turning off like all the proto Pokemon abilities, but there's still a lot of abilities that are quite relevant to disable, like Defiant, Prankster, that sort of stuff. So he's quite good. He's also very good at cleaning up hazards. So your poison spikes, you can put on the safety boots. I can't remember the name of the boots, but they clean up hazards. He could also run him as a super offensive Terra Normal explosion Pokemon that just deletes something. So that's an option as well. Yeah, cool Pokemon. I'm really excited to use him. It'll be fun. Illumise. So this is a Pokemon that had a little bit of conversation going on about it in the recent months or the past couple of months about it being a Prankster Tailwind Pokemon. Um, it was the only Pokemon in the draft format that had both Prankster and Tailwind, which means it's the fastest Pokemon to get Tailwind up, which is great. Um, and it is actually just like a relatively flexible support Pokemon. Like its base stat total leaves a lot to be desired. It's not particularly strong. It's not particularly bulky, so it won't take many hits. But kind of its only job is to just get in, hit Tailwind. If it lives, great. If it gets Helping Hand off, great. But primarily, it's just a Tailwind Pokemon. Encore, pretty good for setting up against other supports, um, especially against people that are trying to run Trick Room. You just click Encore on someone trying to use Trick Room, and that Pokemon's pretty much deleted. Um, like they have to swap it out. Good also against opposing Tailwinds, Weather Setters, that sort of stuff. Just locking them into awkward moves. Even setup Pokemon just really don't like Encore. So yeah. And we're moving on to number 9. Mienshao. So this is a Pokemon I have played with a little bit in the past, so I'm kind of familiar of how it works. Um, Obviously, it has access to Ice Spinner now, which is really, really nice. Terrain is not going to be super relevant. Obviously, there's nothing like Rillaboom or anything in the draft. The closest is in DDF, which puts down Psychic Terrain, which obviously stops the other nice part about this Pokemon, which is Fake Out. So having access to Ice Spinner to remove that Psychic Terrain, if necessary, is probably going to be maybe 10% relevant, not super certain. Um, but I think this can be just like a really annoying threat to deal with because it's got some pretty decent defenses. It's got like a decent HP pool, so being able to take advantage of like U-turn regenerator is pretty cool, or pretty gross to be completely honest. And you're obviously just resetting your ability to fake out every time he comes back in. Um, Strong Pokemon, quite scary to be honest. Looking forward to playing with them all. To be honest, most of this team is pretty good. My last pick overall was Duskform Lycanroc. So I kind of pondered between um, Midnight Form and this form, um, but the ability was kind of the difference. They all pretty much have access to the same moves, more or less. There's like one or two difference, but nothing really critical. Um, I just needed a fast physical sweeper who could just go in and blow something up. That was pretty much the whole drill. And yeah, Lycanroc does the job. So this is all the boys. This is the team. Yeah. So I just want to shout out Elise for giving us the opportunity to join this event. My joining of this event was very last minute, but I'm absolutely thrilled to be a part of it. I look forward to sharing my battles with all of you guys and getting to see all the cool teams that all the other creators and everything come up with. Speaking of which, don't forget to go check out their various social medias and their channels and stuff. They'll be linked in the description below the video. You go give them your support, follow them. Hope you guys all enjoyed this breakdown and have a great day. Peace.